I'm Natalia Hepworth here in Idaho Falls, outside of the Public Defender's Office. We are here to speak with John Thomas, who's been Christopher Tapp's defense attorney. In less than 24 hours, Chris Tapp could be a free man.
So you've been working on this case for a really long time.
Yes.
What does this mean for you? What's the possibility of?
It's the culmination of a lot of years of hard work, and it means that someday we will get a free man to. We will get Chris Tapp out of prison, and he will be a free man, and that day is tomorrow, and so we are super excited about it.
Can you tell me the terms that you have in place?
I can tell you the general terms. The judge has kept the stipulation, and he will read that in open court, and then I'll be out in open court. But generally, what's going to happen is Chris Tapp is waiving his rights to appeal. He's going to waive his rights to the post-convictions that he has now. We're going to withdraw all of those, and he is going to, the conviction for murder will stand. He's been convicted of murder by a jury. That will stand. He will not allocute. He will not say that he was part of it. He will not say that he was there. Just the conviction will stand. The rape conviction will be vacated and dismissed, so he will not be a sex offender. He has done 20 years and 2 months or whatever it is, over 20 years in prison. His sentence will be reduced from 30 years plus life in prison down to 20 years. And so he will be walking, hopefully he'll be walking out of the courtroom a free man tomorrow. Worst case scenario, they may have to take him back to the jail to process him, but we're certainly hoping that the judge will order him released immediately, and that he will be able to walk out of the courtroom a free man. What we've decided to call it is a resentencing. Basically, Chris Tapp will be resentenced under the post-conviction, under the current post-conviction petition that we have. The judge has jurisdiction under that petition to visit the original conviction that was a 1997 criminal case. And so he's being resentenced in the criminal case under the post-conviction petition. It's kind of that's just how they're going to have to do it.
So what has changed in the last month in order to have this result of Chris being released on Wednesday?
Well, it hasn't really been the last month. I mean, we've been getting evidence coming in over the last several years. We had a year and a half ago, we had hand swabs tested from Angie Dodge's hands back in 1996. They were never tested back then. We've recently had those tested. The test came back exactly how I thought it would come back. The killer's DNA is on there. No one else's DNA is on there. We've had new tests done from True Allele, and they have shown that Chris Tapp is absolutely not a contributor to DNA that they found on the sweatpants. DNA they found on the shirt wasn't Chris Tapp's. Chris Tapp was absolutely excluded. Ben Hobbs was absolutely excluded. So there are issues there that have not necessarily been in the last month or so, but they've been creeping along, and we've been pushing them to the surface. And so it's been a long journey, but I think as everybody gets closer to the hearings, everybody looks at their risk assessment and they say, gee, what is the risk of winning? What is the risk of losing? What do we have to lose? And in this particular case, Chris, if we lost at this hearing, he'd be looking at another 10 years before he's parole eligible. And if we won at the hearing, we have a risk of losing at the Court of Appeals level. We have a risk of losing at the Supreme Court level. The state has already indicated that if we were to go through the hearings and they were going to lose, that they were going to appeal. And if we were going to lose, we absolutely would have appealed as well. So there's that risk. And as everybody gets closer to the hearing date, they start, thinking, gee, we need to iron this out. We need to make sure that we're in the best possible position. We both parties had a lot to lose here.
Right. Would you like to add anything else?
Victory. We have a victory. A victory for Chris Tapp. a victory for the justice system. It's a victory. We are absolutely convinced that Chris Tapp is innocent, and we believe that although he's not been completely exonerated and that he is still going to be a convict and convicted, that he is walking free. He is not going to be on parole. He's not going to be on probation. He will be able to eat whatever I eat or go wherever I go. He'll be able to go to California or Las Vegas or Miami, Florida, or New York City without any strings attached. And he hasn't been able to do that in 20 years. And that's a huge, huge victory to give a man his life back, to shave off a bare minimum of 10 years from his incarceration. And life in prison, possibility of life in prison after that, that's an incredible feat. There's no way I would not count that as a victory.